This is Martin Giles of the Guildford Dragon News, and this evening I'm on the Hog's Back with members of the Reform Party who have started their campaign here in Guildford, and I'm with Richard Tice MP and Graham Drage, who's the local chairman of the Reform Association. Richard.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me. Here on the Mount in Guildford, close to where I was born, Martin.
Okay, now tell me, how would a Reform Council make West Surrey better?
Stop wasting money. Get stuff done. I was just canvassing in one of the council estates which is being appallingly managed. Lots of unrefurbished, empty houses. Lots of complaints about water coming through into people's lights and things. You know, we're real estate people. We know how to get stuff done. We've got to manage things properly.
Okay, so why are you here in particular in Guildford? You're a Westminster politician. This is a local election.
Because actually, this is so important. Because local services is what makes such a difference to people. Whether it's potholes, whether it's looking after property, and so we're talking to lots of our candidates. We've got a full slate of candidates, and we can make a real difference. But what we say to people is, if you want change, you've got to vote for it.
Right. And do you think the local government reorganisation is a good thing?
It can be a good thing as long as you've got really good councillors who are going to get stuff done. That's the key thing. And many people don't understand why there's different sort of tiers or levels of government, and then you get councils blaming each other. Actually, what you just want to know is that your councillors are going to make sure that the council staff do a great job and provide a good service, value for money. And here's the key thing: in the 10 councils that we've been running since May 25, we've had the lowest average council tax rises of all of the political parties. That's a sign of success, knowing how to save money.
But in Surrey, the preference of most councils and of those that were consulted was ignored, and we've gone for 2 councils rather than 3. What do you think of that?
Well, in a sense, that's the government that has ignored the wishes of local people, but we are where we are, and we've got to get on with it. And fundamentally, let's save some money and let's provide services, better values for money, and getting stuff done faster. And what I was hearing on the doors today was that people are cross that things are not being done, not being properly managed, and that's infuriating.
It's a very aggressive timeline to set up this new council. Do you think it's going to work? Just 12 months until we start?
Well, it's got to. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious, with timetables, with trying to get stuff done, and it means that there's, in a sense, don't delay stuff. If you're going to do it, get on with it and do it properly.
But isn't the major handicap for councils the lack of funding after removal of government grants? Your party wants further cuts to council spending.
No,
isn't it?
there's a difference between cuts and savings and value for money, and negotiating better deals as contracts come up, and making sure that you're not wasting money on unnecessary things. And that's what we've seen up and down the country in the councils that we run. We've saved hundreds of millions of pounds already. We've identified hundreds of millions more across the piece. We're negotiating where people have never negotiated before. Saving money, that's the crucial thing, and providing a better service.
So what wastage have you noticed here in Guildford?
Well, Graham will tell you that.
Okay.
We've got I think wastage across the board. I work for Surrey County Council.
Okay, let me introduce you. You're Graham Drage.
I'm Graham Drage, so I'm the chair of Reform UK. I'm also a senior manager within Surrey County Council, and I think we're all acutely aware that Surrey County Council debt has risen by 50% in the last financial year, and that's under a Tory administration. So there are substantial savings to be made across the board within Surrey, and of course within Guildford Borough Council as well. We know there's been significant wastage, Martin, I beg your pardon, and the Solace report 2024 really spelt that out in very clear terms, that the Lib Dems are also failing us and not really being rigorous as well about the way that they spend.
Okay, what issues Richard's already mentioned some of them, but what issues are the main ones being brought up on the doorstep?
For us, for example, today we're really hearing some basic on-the-ground issues. It's the simple things. Social housing in Park Barn. There's an 8-year waiting list if you want a 3-bed home at the moment. There are over 60 properties that are just standing either derelict or waiting for renovation. This is unacceptable. We've got a huge number of people on the waiting list, so social housing is a major one.
Would reform build more social housing?
It would first of all improve the existing stock, and
Yes,
I think
but
that's.
I mean, that's only 80 that you've noticed.
Yeah, but
you've got to start somewhere. And fundamentally, yes, when we're in national government, then we can bring in what I call my British Sovereign Wealth Fund, which generates tens of billions of pounds for more social housing. But short term, in the immediate, let's manage what we've got, what the council's got at the moment, properly.
Yes, but I'm trying to tease out, is reform's policy to build more social housing?
Social housing will be part of the mix, absolutely. But first of all, it's about sensible, rigorous spending. It's about making sure we look holistically at Surrey County Council spending. I'd also add to that, Martin, we really have two sides to Guildford. We have this wonderful, very affluent side of Guildford, very comfortable, but then we do have this whole side, north, east and west, which is very badly neglected, and those are the communities that we really want to focus on, making sure that there's better division and proportion of spending in those communities.
Okay, what else has come up on the doorstep?
A whole range of stuff. Simple things like fly tipping, making sure that people in social housing can remove waste. We go over to that side of Guildford, it's a very different look. We've got piles of waste on the pavements. We've got significant parking issues. They're much smaller streets over there. The parking issues which aren't being managed by the Lib Dems, whereby cars fully block the pavements, push pedestrians right into the roads.
Okay.
These are the three key issues
What
which
about
we're constantly.
potholes? They normally come up.
Potholes obviously are absolutely massive.
So how would you deal with that?
We would
Pothole
prioritise.
Pros. Across all our councils, we're using the JCB Pothole Pros. We're getting on top of the backlogs, making a difference, and it's a great British product. It's fantastic.
We would also make sure that we prioritise the right roads first of all, so the major tributaries, those that serve businesses and schools. That's the most important thing. And what we would absolutely make sure is that potholes are not filled once, twice, 3 times. So we would introduce rigorous standards to make sure that there's a proper assessment of how they're being filled, contractors are being held to account, and if they're not filling them properly, they'll be sent back at their expense to redo these potholes. That is 9/10 of the problem. The potholes isn't the problem.
Accountability and responsibility, Martin.
It's the way they're
but,
being filled.
but that needs funding, doesn't it?
It does need funding, of course, yeah, but this is where we're going to make substantial savings, look very closely at the commitments the council are currently making, and then divert money back into the
But the
most
key thing
important
about the Pothole Pro is that actually it fills potholes faster, more efficiently, so you get better value for money, you get more action for the same pound, more bang for your buck, Martin. That's what we want. We need more sun for our buck here as well.
Okay, now lastly, some reform councils have banned certain parts of the media in some parts of the country. Would you ever consider doing so in Guildford?
Absolutely not on my agenda at all, Martin, no.
No parts of the
Let me
media.
explain that. That actually wasn't the media. That was essentially activists masquerading as the media. We called them out and we said, enough's enough. And then, it was sorted out.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Pleasure.